Hello, welcome to our AI-powered copywriter session. I'm so sorry I'm late. My computer decided to restart just as it got to about 5 to 7 and then did a little software update. So the timing of that was typical, but I think it's been protesting because I've been in calls all day and it was like, I need a little break before we dive into the live stream. So my software is updated. We are here and we are talking about all things AI-powered copywriting. So it's great to have you here. As always, please do introduce yourself in the chat. I would love to hear if you are a copywriter or if you are doing your own copywriting and how do you feel about copywriting? So just by way of introduction, for anyone who's watching this and has, not come across me before, my name is Maneksha. This is part of the AI-powered service provider series that I am doing at the moment, where we explore different services and how AI can fit in with it. Today, I'm very excited about this one because it is close to my heart. I have been copywriting on the internet since 2005. And you might think, Maneksha, you don't look old enough to have been copywriting on the internet since 2005. And that is because it was very illegal. And I was 15 and I was copywriting for an agency through an early version of something like Fiverr. And I was paid $3 per article to keyword optimize a variety of medical articles. So if you got medical advice on the internet between 2005 and 2008, I apologize. I may well have written some of that as a completely unqualified 15-year-old. And that is why Google's algorithm updates are a good thing. But that is a story for another time. So we're here today to look at copywriting processes. And I had mentioned it to my amazing Marketing Magic community because even if you are not providing copywriting services, this is going to be something that is relevant to your processes as you're doing your own copywriting for your own business. And I'm also going to give you some examples of how much fun you can have once you get to a point in your business where you can bring in copywriters. And we're going to talk about the value of that. I am just going to have a quick drink because I've got a little crackle in my throat today, again, from talking all day in meetings. So I'm excited to be here. It's awesome to see the chat popping as always. Everyone's so engaged and I love it. There's a ton of feedback happening. Ooh, is anyone else hearing that? So Heather is a freelance writer and does her own copywriting, but it's not my strong point. So use Marketing Magic and ChatGPT a lot. Love that. Dion, I'm not sure. Okay, yeah. So a few people are seeing it might be worth refreshing the screen, maybe, Dion, and hopefully that will help. Okay, so Ashley is a copywriter and has used AI but get frustrated at the output. Yes, because the output is appalling a lot of the time. So we're going to be talking about that as well. So Rosemary, I write my own copy and gradually getting used to using Marketing Magic to assist my own copy with the help of AI. Cool. So we've got a mix of people. Your Ampersand Studio. I'm a graphic designer and copywriter for Space Holders. Love that. Also love your little YouTube profile picture, by the way, as well. Colors are awesome. Okay, so Watercolor Wizardry. I still learn from messaging experts like Brandon Lucero. Just launched the business. Awesome. So we've got a mix of different people. We are going to be talking about it from the perspective of copywriting as a profession. So we're going to be looking a little bit at the sort of process of copywriting, what AI looks like within that, the differences between AI copy and human copy, because it's really important for us to be able to understand that as copywriters providing services, what are the unique elements that AI can't help with. So as I've been talking about in this series, AI ultimately cannot do huge amounts of things that humans can do. We know that, but we might be in situations where we're faced with clients who think that AI can deliver what we have delivered just because it generates basically, the same output. You can create a sales page with it, right? Is that sales page going to convert? Is that sales page going to rank organically when Google's algorithm updates, catch AI copy? Is that sales page going to be caught for plagiarism? All of those other nuances are not necessarily things that clients understand or know about. And so we are thinking through what it looks like to use AI as a tool as service providers, while positioning the value that we bring in the face of AI that can automate some of these things. And I have built Marketing Magic, which does create copy for business owners, but the positioning of Marketing Magic is very much for business owners who can't afford to bring in external people, or don't want to bring in external people right now because they are a really small business. It's really designed to save you 40 hours a month if you are having to do everything on your own, with the idea that that then creates space for you to be able to work with humans in a more creative capacity. Because when we are when we're having to do creative things, or things that require nuance and insight and intuition, and we're having to do those things under pressure of need to make this work, need to make the money back from this so that the business is sustainable, and we're in that kind of pressured environment, that is actually going to dampen our creativity to the point that it makes working with writers more stressful. It makes working with any creatives more stressful than it needs to be. So once we have got a level of sustainability and predictability into our businesses, if we're small business owners, it makes it much easier and feel much less stressful to hire copywriters to help us with positioning and our messaging, and adding that nuance into our work that ultimately will make your business much more successful when it comes to things like reaching the right audience and all of that good stuff. So we're going to dive into the Google document that I have prepared for today's session. It's very loosely prepared because if you were with me for yesterday's session, which was social media management, I'm trying to do a lot of this in real time so that I can kind of explain the process as I go, and kind of talk about the things that come up as we're looking at that. But I have got a few notes, and then they'll be available on the replay page for this after the fact. So the replay page should be in your email if you're subscribed to the AI-Powered Service Provider series. And I did also send the link out to that to Marketing Magic customers as well. But if you don't know where to find that, let me know and I can point you in the right direction. So I am going to just pull up my relevant screens, and then we'll get stuck in. So let me do that now. Do ask any questions in the chat as well. If there's specific things that you've got questions about, that you're frustrated by, anything to do with whether it's actually working as a copywriter in the age of AI, or if it's more to do with like the workflow side of things as well, do put those questions in the chat. I love a question, and I'm more than happy for you to disagree with me if you are like, actually, no, that's not been my experience, because we're here to have a conversation about it. So when it comes to AI, I am not somebody who adopts emerging technologies quickly. I was absolutely not somebody who was like, everyone should use ChatGPT. I am very conservative about how I approach new technology on the internet, because when you see how big data and tech work behind the scenes, there is, a real sense of a lot of this feels non-consensual when it comes to the training of data models and all of that kind of thing. So I have been a very gradual adopter of AI since about 2017, when Google released its first algorithm that had explicit machine learning capabilities in it, and we started to move away from exact match keywords. And then obviously with generative AI, it brings up a whole lot of other questions around what we're doing in business. So let me present my screen, and then we'll get stuck in. So I have got Marketing Magic open. I'm going to log into it. If you don't have Marketing Magic yet, you can get a free trial for 7 days, and you can try it out for yourself. I am just going to log in, and then I'm going to go over to my document and look at my notes. Now, we have had, and I'm going to share this via email, I think, at some point, because it was just such a nice thing to see. But we've already had, this idea of like, does AI sound like me? Often not. You can, say you can get really mixed results from it. The reason I've enjoyed building Marketing Magic is really I've become like slightly obsessed about how to make sure that we can get AI to sound as close to us as possible without it being without it having too much of our information, without it having too much of our data. How can we use AI while staying as light as possible on the data the giving up of personal stories, of anecdotes, of things like that. So I will always say to people that your assumption with AI is that when it's properly optimized, it can get you 70 to 80% of the way there. But if it gets you any closer than that, if you're starting to see AI give you anecdotes about your own life, if it's giving personal details as part of its results, that AI knows too much about you, and that is a serious concern. We always want to have to add in the personal elements of our stories without having given a lot of that over to AI language models, because those things, those experiences that we have are what really makes us human, makes our businesses our business. And we don't want to, it's the same as all the SAG-AFTRA and WGA protests that were happening last year with the unions in Hollywood. The idea of actors giving their physical likeness to AI so that it can be used in perpetuity. The giving of our anecdotes and the personal stories that make us who we are to AI is the sort of story-based equivalent of that. So we always want to be careful about obviously anything that is overly personal information. So I'm going to share this. The reason that I'm going to be using Marketing Magic, we've been doing a whole lot of upgrades. Rachel's been helping me out as well. But one of the things that I've been obsessed about is like, how do we make it sound as close to us as possible without it being too close? And so this idea of like 70 to 80% of the way there. And one of the things that I've been working on since August is this really big tone of voice update that is going to significantly improve the results that people get with Marketing Magic because of the sort of process behind the scenes that we've come up with for that. So somebody has messaged in today, and I'm going to keep them anonymous, but this is somebody who has been part of the Marketing Magic community for a while, and the response was, OMG, it's been a while since I've been in the app and I'm blown away by the upgrades that you've done. The new brand content feature is a massive value add. I was kind of met about the results that I was getting before, so I wasn't using it a whole lot, even though I had a lifetime license, because I'm in a very small and unusual niche. So I just accepted my fate of writing my own content. But after putting a bit of info in and writing samples into the brand content section, I'm amazed at the email that came back. I almost cried because it's so close to perfect, and it took 5 minutes. I'm so excited to craft my welcome sequence and really start using this tool more consistently. Thank you for your ongoing development efforts with Marketing Magic. They're paying off massively. So that was just a really nice response, and that is without our awesome upgrade. So it's really fun to see people getting results like that. But that is something that I have spent so much time researching, and it's why I'm so excited to be having this conversation in today's live stream, and why I may have been more excited about this one than any of the others. Because when we are thinking through the concept of copywriting, it isn't just the deliverables. There's lots and lots of other stuff going on. And even if what you're providing to clients at the moment is deliverables, and that might be something that feels at risk because of the way that AI can be used by your clients, ultimately the skills and the things that make you a really good copywriter are not necessarily things that have been measurable or things that you've had to be self-aware about until now, but they are things that ultimately will enable you to work with clients in a much more expansive and creative space, rather than which ultimately the value of that becomes higher as well. But the ability to do things that are higher paid because it's using your expertise in a way that is much more connected to existing products that are successful already, or ways of being able to identify, okay, this is actually this is going to cause an issue for your audience. We're thinking about messaging and positioning and that kind of thing. So anyway, this is the document. Hopefully you can see it. Let me just double check that you can. Awesome. Heather, your year anniversary. I love that. I have been so busy on the tone of voice upgrade that I haven't yet finalized what our birthday party is going to be, but we are for sure, it might be in April, but we're for sure going to do a 1 year celebration of what's been going on with Marketing Magic. So let's have a little think about what copywriters do. And this document, like I said, will be available on the resource page after this session. But what are some of the things that copywriters do? What can AI help with? And what are the unique elements that humans bring to the copywriting process? In terms of the AI side of things, generating headlines and captions, like basic things to get you going, checking grammar and spelling, identifying overused words or phrases. The irony of that is that, so many of the words that come out of AI are overused intrinsically because AI is probability based and it's analyzed all of the data patterns and it's giving you the most overused words and phrases because the probability of that word following another word is high. So anyway, that's an aside. Analyzing keyword density for things like SEO. We've already seen that happen with tools that have been out in the market since 2018-ish. Suggesting different synonyms and variations, translating different text, tracking changes, managing versions. We see that a little bit with some of the things that Google does, generating product descriptions and giving assistance with content organization and structure. So there's some very generic examples of things that AI can do. And what we can really see with all of these examples is that AI uses either things that are it's ultimately predictive text on a really huge level, but what it works best with areas where there is a pattern or an existing structure and you have determined what the structural need is. And then from that point, AI can say, okay, well, I can replicate this process for you because you're automating the cognitive structure of something. So things like, product descriptions. Even when it comes to replicating your tone of voice, it's replicating a pattern. So that is what AI is good at. It's good at replicating a pattern. It isn't good at breaking a pattern. And actually, the best copywriting breaks patterns. If you're doing conversion copywriting and you're doing launches and you're, communicating with an audience in a way that feels fresh, you need to be able to break the patterns in order to capture people's attention. And so AI is really good at, automating some of the legwork that previously we would have had to have done. But if we're totally honest, those things are not the reason that we enjoy doing copywriting, because they are the sort of it's the churning of things out to pay the bills isn't the bit that copywriters necessarily enjoy about copywriting. The reason that a lot of people went into copywriting is because they enjoy the craft of words. And so what we can do if we think about copywriting as a science and an art is that we can automate the science side of the copywriting, the sort of structural stuff, the things that need to be in a certain format because of design requirements or whatever. We can automate some of the science side of it, and we can spend more time in the art and the craft side of what it means to be wordsmith. So areas that AI can help, there's just some examples of that. So now we're going to look at the unique value of a human. I'm not a huge fan of the language, but I'm trying to just really make it clear that even when we're seeing tools that like AI copywriters and all of this kind of thing, AI is never, ever going to replace a human. However many times we give it a human sounding name and a little robot avatar, fundamentally, the value of a human comes down to things that are relational, that are to do with our emotional and cultural and intersectional existence as people who live in societies around the world. So the unique value of a human is really just a contrast against this idea of like AI copywriters, because there is a lot of language in the AI space that attempts to humanize AI, even though it is ultimately just, a whole lot of probability and algorithms under a user interface. So what are we doing as humans in the copywriting space that AI can't do? Crafting persuasive and engaging narratives. And obviously you can use AI to craft persuasive and engaging narratives, but they are typically going to be a little bit more formulaic, and you're always going to want to put them through the filter of, is this something that my audience would find persuasive? Is this something that my audience would find engaging? Is this something that is relevant to the human experience? Understanding and conveying a brand's unique voice. And that is something that, really the biggest struggle that the majority of people have had when it comes to using AI is that they either have not been sure of what their brand voice is. And so when they're generating copy, it sounds more generic than they want it to, and they're not writers, so it's hard to give it a little bit of guidance because you're not really sure how to brief something when you're not an expert in that area, or you're kind of briefing it and AI isn't listening, or AI is going really hammy with it, and you've said you want to be witty and it's just gone totally down the sort of jammy hammy vibes of the most what would a caricature of wit look like, and that's what AI has come back with. Creating content that resonates with specific audiences. So that piece around resonating is the missing factor for a lot of the copy that is generated by AI, because it is mimicking what it thinks might resonate rather than understanding what the person that you're talking to is looking for or expecting, and then filtering that way. So copywriting is communication. So when we are communicating, we're thinking about the experience of the person on the other side. AI can't do that because it is not human. It has not got consciousness. It can fake being a human. It can mimic interaction, but it can't actually have what we know to be a conversation, and what we and how we communicate as human beings. Adapting the writing style to different platforms and formats. Now, you can use AI to repurpose content for different platforms, but again, you need to provide it with the structure in order to do that. And actually adapting your writing style in business to these different spaces, whether that is a sales page and you're using more persuasion, or you're on social media and you're telling more stories and using narrative, whatever your approach is for your specific platform, you need to be able to identify what that looks like. And a lot of business owners who have gone into business to change the world in their own way, they might understand that their writing style needs to change, but not necessarily how or what style of writing should be applied to different formats. So when you're coming into a business, the idea of crafting a brand voice, understanding what the brand voice is, and then thinking about how that is applied to different channel strategy is all part of communication that ultimately comes under the copywriting umbrella, because you might specialize in a certain type of copy, but you need to be able to deliver at that level, and that needs to be consistent with what's going on elsewhere in the business as well. Infusing creativity and humor into writing. Now, I want to show you, at the risk of focusing on my own website, I want to show you some examples, because and I had a really interesting conversation with somebody about this, where people people are hiring human writers to talk about AI. Now, why might that be? Because AI has been trained on a whole lot of information. It has not been trained on emerging technologies. It isn't able to be truly innovative because it can only give you responses that are based on things that have already happened. So if you are following a pattern or a known model, then great. But if you're doing something that is like genuinely different, you need to be able to communicate that in a way. You can talk to AI about let's take an example, right? I'm just going to go over to my platform AI account. We're going to say explain generative AI, and we're just going to let's do it at 4, and we're just going to do this. So we can tell it to explain itself, right? And it is going to give you an explanation of what generative AI is, but it isn't going to be able to provide you any sort of more nuance than that unless you're giving it further context to say, explain generative AI to a toddler. But you can tell it to explain itself, but you can't necessarily get it to give, examples or to speak to the sort of like fears that people have around it, without it's still relying on quite formulaic language that has gone before. So when I was creating the marketing materials for Marketing Magic, grow your business, not your to-do list is so my friend Vicky, she runs a really cool stationery business called Mean Mail, but she is also a like brand strategist and creative director. She's just absolutely incredible, and she's been doing some stuff for me on a rebrand. She did my Heyman Extra branding and stuff as well. But she came up with a whole load of different taglines of like, okay, how do we take the challenges that people are facing and we crystallize them into some sort of snappy one-liners that can be used for advertising and can be used more widely. So my copy for Marketing Magic for Grow Your Business, Not Your To-Do List, Vicky came up with that after we had like talked about it. And I, had said to her, it helps people to, focus on doing the things that they love and grow their business instead of being stuck in a cycle of constantly trying to do more work. And she was like, great, grow your business, not your to-do list. And that's kind of one of the one-liners that we came up with. Unsubscribe from overwhelm is also something that Vicky had had time to dwell in all of the problems and things that people have had. And then she was like, great, here's an unsubscribe from overwhelm. Love that, right? Because we all know, the concept of unsubscribes is really, familiar to us all as small business owners. And overwhelm is also something that we're experiencing. And so the idea of unsubscribe from overwhelm, again, came out of this like creative space of being able to understand what people are experiencing, think about the way that we can communicate that in a fun way. And that's where that came from. And then got 99 marketing problems. We've got 62 tools and counting to help you solve them is something that I had created when I was drafting the sales page. Now, where I did get AI help was drafting some of these other sections, which were ultimately, very formulaic. It was just that we needed a short description of what each thing was for. And then I went through and tweaked those. So idea to implement it in 10 minutes. Again, something that I had come up with when I was doing the 20-minute sales funnel last year. So that was something that has been around. Make your marketing sparkle is something that I've used in my business for a number of years as well. Take your marketing from zero to hero in a handful of keystrokes and a few clicks. I can't remember if that was something that AI had started and then we honed, but you can kind of get the idea that when you are pulling out some of these key headings and like ultimately the messages, AI can give you things that are starting that process, but ultimately you're always going to need to bring in your knowledge of the reader, your knowledge of who your customer is, and your experience in the wider context. Like unsubscribe from overwhelm only makes sense as 3 words if you understand the context of the page, right? Context is a really, really huge factor. So that's just to kind of explain a little bit around how creativity and humor can be pulled into things, and that AI might give you a starting point, and kind of give you a little bit of a brain dump almost that you can take inspiration from, but wordsmithing and the creative act of copy and positioning is still something that is needed and relevant because it takes into account all of these other parts of society and relationships and what it means to connect with one another as humans, that AI simply cannot do. And if it does do it, it is more likely to sound a little bit formulaic, even when it's really well optimized. And I'm saying that for the copywriters among us, because the idea that it's always going to sound a little bit formulaic is ultimately because AI is not truly intelligent. It's an algorithm. It's always going to give you, probability-based results. And so that's, and that's one of the big conversations that people are having around it, because, all of it. Again, conversation run the time. I'm going to stay focused. So that brings us on to the next one, which I had totally forgotten this was the next point, but identifying and addressing subtle cultural nuances. So the kind of humor that I use in my writing is often quite British humor as well. I think it does seem to translate well with my North American friends, but there are cultural nuances in the way that things are communicated that if I say to AI, use British English, it's like, come on over and, if your website visitors are like the Loch Ness Monster, pour yourself a cup of tea and by golly, we will get you some new website visitors soon. And it goes into like this kind of hammy thing. And it's like, that's not really, those stereotypes are not really what like culture is at the core. So that idea of like nuance and cultural nuance is an art to bring that in without hitting people over the head with it. Generating big ideas and concepts for campaigns. Now, this is like the amount of ideation that happens in order for really high impact marketing copy to exist is really significant. And so if you have been able to automate some of the research phase or automate some of the like feature copy stage where you're being very functional about the stuff that you're writing, you have a little bit more space to then do bigger thinking and spend more time on some of the high impact statements that would make up your messaging and so on. So the ideation piece and bringing together like different concepts is a really time consuming piece. And if you want to do it really well, it takes, cooking time. You have to be able to dwell on things in order for to get to the point. There's a reason that email marketers tell you to write 5 subject lines and pick the best one, is because the first thing that you write is very rarely the best way that you could communicate that idea. So key qualities and skills that a human copywriter can provide. So these are just some examples of ways that human copywriters can position themselves when having conversations with clients who might be really bought into the idea of an AI copywriter. So ideation space. Yes, you can get ideas from AI, but ideation needs a filter. Otherwise, it is overwhelm. And I am again going to reference the data, information, knowledge, wisdom pyramid, which for the second time in this series, I'm going to Google and we're going to pull it up onto the screen. AI can give you information and it can give you knowledge, even if you're asking it the right questions, but you are applying that filter so that this isn't all completely overwhelming. Because if you've just got huge amounts of data and huge amounts of information and even a good amount of like knowledge, you are going to be incredibly overwhelmed by it if you don't have the wisdom to filter out the contextually relevant pieces of information that are going to be high impact. So that's just to bring the DIKW pyramid back into yet another session. So ideation, yes, you can do it, but you can just create overwhelm problems for yourself by getting so full of ideas that you actually are like, great, now I have no idea where to start because I've just got so many ideas. Emotional resonance and connection with readers. Again, there's nuance to the way that emotions are expressed throughout different copy. Without it being too much or not enough. Creativity and originality in expression. Unsubscribe from overwhelm is an example of that one. Alignment with the brand identity and values, like your ability to put a filter and say that does not align with the message that you want to communicate to your audience, is a really important factor in successful copywriting. Intuitive understanding of audience needs. If you're a business owner, this is relevant to you as well. Like the best marketing comes from knowing who you're talking to. If you are having a conversation with a group of people and you understand who those people are and what those people need, your communication to them is going to be much more effective than if you're just standing and talking. So if I went to a marketing conference and I knew that in that room there were 8,000 small business owners who all were working as part of either a solo team or a very small team, I can go in there and I can talk about the things that you need to understand in order to effectively set up efficient marketing systems, and everyone's going to be like, great, super. The likelihood is, 60% of the people in that room are going to take something super valuable away from that that's going to help them make their marketing work more efficiently for them. If I went into a football stadium and I, in the halftime was like, guys, I would like to talk to you about how you can make your marketing systems more efficient. That is going to be booed off the pitch. It's irrelevant from a context point of view. They're there to watch football. And also, those people are there to watch football. And so, one, I don't know anything about their lives outside of the fact that they like football. And two, they are maybe, 3% of people there might be business owners, maybe 10% of people that have an interest in what I have to offer. And even fewer of them might be interested in how to make their marketing more efficient. And so when we're thinking about this idea of communicating with our audience, this sense of alignment, this sense of understanding what message people need to have, understanding your audience, understanding what they need and why they're in your audience, means that your marketing will always hit the point that it needs to hit, or like most of the time. Sometimes we all, we're human. But you're much more likely to have a conversation that resonates, and you're much more likely to be able to filter out the things that AI gives you that are going to be irrelevant to your audience, because you can be like, no, they don't need to know that, or no, that's not for now, that's for somebody else. And it allows you to put that filter in place, because your communication of what your business does and your understanding of who your audience is the sort of it's creating a double filter, and then the only stuff that gets past both of those things is the stuff that is relevant and helpful for your business or your client or whatever your project is that you're working on. Intuitive understanding of audience needs, and that idea of intuitive understanding ultimately comes down to knowing who your customers are. So if you know who they are, you can say yes or no to things without needing to spend a whole lot of mental energy deciding, like, is this a good headline? Is this a good sales page? Is this a good... You can be like, I don't think that's quite right. You don't even need to be able to articulate it. You can just be like, I'm going to pass on that one. Collaboration and teamwork within projects. Again, when you are working as part of bigger teams and you've got, maybe you're doing projects for people where there's like 12 to 40 people on the team, there are going to be different people who are responsible for different assets within the sort of copy space. So that comes back to making sure that people who are creating Facebook ads are staying on message with the people who are creating website copy, with the people who are creating emails, or the people who are creating graphics to go alongside those things. So your ability to maintain that sense of cohesion and brand voice across multiple elements is another key part of what humans can do that AI cannot do. And that is, something that as we go into the next 2 to 3 years, you might start to find more opportunities with that kind of work than writing, 2 blog posts a month for people. So ethical integrity and messaging, again, AI is going to give you some rogue stuff because it is probability based. Sometimes the stereotypes that come out of it are really problematic. Reporting those to the language model providers themselves is something that we can all kind of do to try and make sure that the machines are unlearning all of the problematic stuff, but making sure that you have really focused on the brand's values and how those are brought across in messaging is another key element of that sense of what we know as humans with human experiences. And cultural sensitivity and relevance comes into that too. Deep insight into market trends and audience behavior, again, aligns with this idea of understanding our audiences and what they need. So some of the outcomes that people might be looking for. Let me just bold this one so that we can see that. We've touched on all of these already, but these are just some like specific outcomes that copywriters can offer in the age of AI that are going to really provide value that AI cannot necessarily even replicate. So development of brand voice, advertising, copy and marketing assets. Obviously, AI can help with that, and we're going to have a look at that in a moment with Marketing Magic. But understanding how all of those things tie together and are cohesive is, again, as I touched on, a really important part of what it means to write copy. Understanding your clients' needs, but understanding their clients' needs. So when you are a copywriter, a lot of the time that you're spending is researching and understanding exactly who you're talking to on behalf of your clients. And if you are a business owner who's worked with copywriters in the past and you have thought, like, I've hired this person as a copywriter, but I write better emails for my audience, the reason for that is because you know your audience really well, you know what resonates with them. And so as copywriters, a huge amount of time is spent on research, and in order for your copy to be really impactful, doing a huge amount of customer and market research is a core part of every project that I've worked on. So understanding your clients' needs and what they're trying to achieve, but also then understanding who their clients are and what their clients are trying to achieve. And then you're bringing that together. And there is a level of nuance there that your clients do not necessarily realize what they need to know or what they need to communicate. And they also don't necessarily know who their customers are in a way that is going to truly impact the sort of art process and craft process of copywriting, not because they don't know their customers, but because they don't necessarily know how to articulate what they know about their customers yet. Messaging and positioning, product launches for things, especially new products, product launches. Launching new products is such an interesting one because the first time that you launch something, your ideal customer avatar is purely based out of research and doing product launches for the first time. But then if there is a history of launches, looking at how the past performance was received, what the audience looked like, and how you can make sure that future messaging of launches comes closer to your ideal customer and ultimately converts better. So conversion rate optimization, which I haven't listed here because I don't want to be overwhelming with the amount of content I gave you tonight. And then creating compelling content. So looking at, what are the actual conversion points that we're measuring here? Is the copy causing people to take action? Because if it isn't, we have a problem. We need to make sure that people are saying yes, and they're meeting those success factors. Editing and proofreading, and that is for both grammar, spelling, and also factual errors, because AI will give factual errors. You will also need to plagiarize, test for plagiarism, any copy that you generate. It's good practice to do that once you've written it anyway, just in case. But especially with AI, Google's latest update means that a lot of AI generated copy is going to immediately get put in the Google bin, and they will not be indexing it. With Marketing Magic, the reason that I got super into all of this was like testing to make sure that the results are the results that you get from Marketing Magic pass the AI checks as being written by a human. So that has been something that has been the case for the product since I built it. But it's also something that I am continually testing to make sure that when it's creating results, it is getting written by human results. And then testing and revising based on feedback, etc. So those are just some of the sort of industry specific things that we want to be considering with copy. When you are a business owner and you're responsible for your own copy at the minute, it's really easy to think, oh, I can just keep doing this myself. But let me tell you, it is so much fun when you have the budget and the mental space to do creative projects with people who are, wordsmiths, artists of their craft. And the way that it can just, elevate your products and turn your, dream products and really bring, a new layer of joy and life to them, and connect with your audience more as well. It's a really enjoyable process. My favorite thing about Marketing Magic is that when we're doing things like we've got our lifetime commercial license launch at the minute, because of that, I'm able to spend more time having fun, tweaking things, doing creative things behind the scenes that I wouldn't otherwise have done because I was doing client work or whatever previously. And so when we have got some traction happening and we can confidently say, actually, yes, I'm going to invest this money on this time into improving this already successful product, that is a really joyful and joyous space to be able to be in, because it really just allows you to do what you do well even better, because somebody has come alongside and said, okay, let's look at this through a different lens. How can we communicate this more more in a fresh way, or in a way that's more impactful? So we're going to look at using AI as a copywriter. Marketing Magic is my tool that I built. And we have got a few different, features and things that you can see in action in demos if this is the first time that you're seeing the interface for this. But the commercial license is the thing I wanted to just mention, because this ends at midnight tonight. The $300 early bird price ends for this. The lifetime license will still be available for another few days, but if you want to save $300, then that is this is where you do that. So this is at the moment set up for people who already have a lifetime license. So this account is people who've already got a lifetime license. If you do not have a lifetime license, then the commercial license is $997 for 10 clients, and then it goes up from there. If you have already bought a license for Marketing Magic, what we've done is just take off the price of the license that you've already paid for. So that's what you'll see with this. But just to explain the price difference there, to be totally transparent, it just means that nobody has ever paid more than $997 for their commercial license. So this is there's more information about it here, and you can kind of read a little bit more. But what we are going to look at is some of the things that I would use as a copywriter in Marketing Magic, and you can ask ChatGPT for these things as well. The results won't be as good because I have tested it extensively in multiple ways. But what we can look at, if we think through what makes you a really good copywriter, understanding who your client is, yes, but also who their client is. And so some of the research tools here are things that I have built out based on the things that I've done manually over the past 19 years, or how long? Yeah, 19 years, because it was 2005. And so things like the customer journey mapping, customer research, customer jobs to be done. So we're going to have a little look at those now, and then we'll have a little look at the actual deliverables, because the things that allow you to create ultimately what a really great marketing message are having that deep understanding. And so being able to automate some of the research process is so helpful when it comes to shortcutting the functional elements of your projects, and then having more time to spend doing things like thinking up really cool headlines or really cool taglines and one-liners. So we're going to start with the awareness stage, and I'm going to click generate all, and we're just going to let it cook for a little minute, and I'm going to check the chat and see if we've got questions that have come in while we do that. So okay, we are British humor. Yeah. Rachel is an icon. She's in the chat. Good to see you. Hey, Rachel. Fempreneur Online, just got it. I'm so happy you've done this. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for upgrading. We do have dedicated support calls for our commercial clients as well. So if you've got specific questions around using AI in your client projects, then our commercial support calls and our commercial support space are both available for commercial users. Cindy, so excited that I upgraded. Really excited that you did too. Tazim, what will the price be after the promo? So the price for the promo, you're getting $300 off until midnight Pacific, and then after that it's $300 more expensive than the prices that are shown right now. So we'll be putting the prices up afterwards, but the $300 off is already applied, and then the prices increased at Pacific midnight. Rachel, the amount of testing done on this app is unreal. Yes, we spend so many hours testing everything. Yes, Nicole, I did know it was you. I when people have got their YouTube channels as their business name, I do like to name drop the business name, because I just feel like it's a nice little bit of brand awareness for people as well. Awesome. Ali, I just keep getting more and more ideas for how to use Marketing Magic. There's just no limits. I'm sorry if that's overwhelming for you. Okay, now we're going to go back to the customer journey, and I'm going to keep talking about how to use this when you're doing copywriting. So I always start with customer insights and customer journey for who I'm talking to. And if you are working with clients, I would do this for your client and then also for their customer. So you almost are doing it twice, but it means that you're able to get a really strong understanding of who your client is as a business owner, what they're dealing with, what their industry is, what they're going through, and doing a bit of an industry deep dive that way. And then for their clients, because it just allows you to create a picture in your mind, a picture in your mind of what the big issues are that come up in that industry, how people are talking about it, what are the thinking processes, what are the activities that people are doing, all that good stuff. So the customer journey process, this customer journey map as well, I love it so much. But you get a doing trigger. So what is the action that is happening for somebody at the point that they become aware? So this is really great for thinking about the format of your copy, like what platforms do you need to be thinking about in terms of the way that your message is being delivered. So there are things that are unique, obviously, to different industries, but if you're working with a client and they've got more of a traditional audience, thinking about application on like traditional media is a really important part of the process when it comes to creating copy of all kinds. So what are they doing at the awareness stage? What are they thinking? So I love the what are they thinking thing. So this is like, what are some of their thoughts, insecurities, anything that your customer might be thinking about at the awareness stage, and what questions might they be mulling over? What are they thinking about? So there's some different examples of that in the thinking stage. Some different feelings as well, just in terms of emotions, because emotions are an important consideration for that we bring that AI cannot bring. AI can describe them to you, and it can describe how you might talk to somebody who's experiencing those things, but again, you are somebody who has experienced those things yourself, and you can write from that place of both empathy and sympathy. What does success look like for this stage of the customer journey? And this one is a really fun one to look at when you're thinking about conversion copywriting in particular, because you are potentially looking at how you're measuring conversion points across a journey that spans multiple pieces of content. And then the idea of like messaging consistency comes through as well. So success factors, keyword ideas, so different long tail keyword ideas to get started with that. And then FAQs, what are some of the things that people are curious about at this stage in the customer journey? So that's the awareness stage, and then I can send all those things to Google or Notion, and then I can generate them all again. And I have said this before, but this made me cry the first time that I created the customer journey map, because I have spent like the average customer journey map, if you're doing like market research and you're getting feedback and you're doing interviews with people for like voice of customer and all of that good stuff, you can spend 100 hours creating a customer journey map. And this, you can go from like nothing to fully done in about 5 minutes if you're sat focused on it, and that's reading through them all as well. Okay, so interest levels, we can see that we've got still some negative emotions, but we're starting to get into people feeling a bit more motivated, inquisitive, determined. So the emotional experience is starting to change a little bit. They're doing similar things, but maybe looking at it from a different topical angle. They're getting a bit deeper into the research of what they're looking for, what their outcomes are, what are some of the things that they're thinking about. So how can I improve my small business marketing efforts without breaking the bank? These questions alone are gold when it comes to creating content and thinking about content strategy, which is also something that obviously a lot of copywriters do with their clients. What does success look like for this stage? What are some of the keywords? Again, you might start to see some crossover in the keyword side of things, and that is because ultimately you're talking to people who are experiencing, the same sort of issues and curiosities, and they're trying to reach the goals, but they're doing it from just a slightly different angle. And then FAQs as well. FAQs and thinking are probably, it's a toss up. Maybe doing, thinking, and FAQs are my 3 favorite bits of this. And then you can do that obviously for consideration, purchase, and retention as well. So you can really create a customer journey map that gives a bit of a comprehensive overview of what that process looks like from start to finish. And then that helps you to map out what assets are needed for each stage of the customer journey. You know, what is the platform? What is the message? What is the asset that you are going to be presenting to people? And then what is the next step that you want them to take? So being able to map this out as just a like an initial part of your research is a really helpful thing. And that also, from a client deliverables perspective, filtering out. So this is the other thing, is that I would take this and then I'd filter it down to, like, you know, I would take maybe 5, right? I'm not going to put every single thing in there. I'm going to take the 5 that are most relevant so that it's not an overwhelming document, but you can create a sort of strategic overview there, which often will also help your clients say yes to other projects because they can see how it fits into the wider journey and why it's necessary. So it just creates a really helpful visual there as well. So that's the customer journey map, customer insights, research, all of the stuff that creates that foundation for you to be able to speak from a place of impact. And then the customer jobs to be done is, this is just one of my favorite tools. I talk about this all the time because not very many people necessarily realize how cool it is, because jobs to be done is a product marketing like tool. It's a tool that has been used in product management for a number of years. It helps you connect the trigger point with the desired outcome and then the impact of that outcome. So it's a really helpful tool to kind of get a bigger picture understanding of who your client is and who their customers or clients are as well. So when a small business owner wants to increase their online visibility, they want to learn about search engine optimization so that they can improve their website search ranking. When a small business owner wants to automate their marketing processes, they want to implement tools, automation tools, so that they can save time and streamline marketing efforts and allow them to focus on other areas in their business. When a small business owner wants to understand their customers' needs and preferences, they might want to utilize generative AI so that they can analyze data and generate insights that help them to tailor their marketing strategies. You can kind of get that sense of how this can be a really helpful tool, especially if you're working with someone whose industry or niche you don't know a whole lot about at the minute. This is a really helpful one for connecting the dots there. And you can use this to go in to your clients' experiences and actually create very custom examples based on real life stories within their business as well. So you might say, okay, we actually have 3 or 4 customers who map against these things. So these jobs to be done are very relevant to the marketing message and the impact, the trigger, the outcome, and the impact that we are communicating around in this particular project or business. So jobs to be done is a really fun function as well, and it's a little bit quicker than going through the customer journey map, just because it gives you 10 like there, and then you can work backwards through the customer journey if you want to. So those are the sort of my two favorites within that. Once you understand obviously the core audience, and you've got a little bit more of a sense of that, if we start to look at more product specific assets in Marketing Magic, when you set up a product, you open out, let's take SEO on a weekend here. We've got just the structural information about the product, but then you've got these checklists that will generate based on the product type. So they're custom to the product type. And this allows you to create the core information, then the sales assets and the marketing assets for that product, so that you end up with a cohesive ecosystem of content that will support that product in both live launches and also evergreen. And so when we're thinking about summarizing some of the data and information that we're seeing for a particular product, when we're doing that research stage, these tools can help with that as well. So product summary, if we take you can get like a sentence summary, a paragraph summary. But if we think about problems it solves, results and outcomes, features and benefits, these are all tools that again can be helpful when it comes to honing exactly what your message needs to be for this launch. So you can find what your your key transformation statement is for a particular campaign, for instance. So problems that SEO in a weekend solves, it solves a lack of organic visibility and traffic to your website, difficulty in understanding and implementing SEO techniques, time constraints preventing you from dedicating enough attention to SEO. We get the gist, but these are some of the problems that people might have if they were to be the ideal customer for SEO in a weekend. Results and outcomes, what do they get out of this? What are the desired outcomes, but also the results that this product can provide? And then product features and benefits summaries as well. So these are all super helpful things that you can kind of use to crystallize core information that is functional, but allows a bounce point for creativity, because you take those things and think, okay, how can we creatively communicate around these things? So the product summary piece is a really helpful thing to be able to generate, again, research and then honing down, okay, what's going to be helpful here? What crystallizes the core information that we need to have as a record? And then how do we apply that across the different marketing elements? So let's also just show you this feature. So we've got default product there. If I click this bookmark, it will actually bookmark that tool, so that as I'm clicking around, let's say I'm just done my features and benefits, I'm going to go to the checkout page. We do have obviously the sales page one, but again, we can set that as the default, and it just means that as we're clicking through the tool, we can do everything super quickly, and then spend our time going back through to hone. So checkout headlines, boost your organic visibility, drive more traffic with SEO in a weekend, unlock the secrets of SEO, watch your Shopify store thrive, dominate. So let me show you. This is a feature that we're currently just in the process of releasing. You can add word exclusion. So if you're seeing unleash, dominate, skyrocket, etc., you can actually put that into your marketing magic and exclude that. So for every brand that you set up, you have the ability to both train the voice of it by uploading samples, and we've got a really extensive process behind the scenes that makes sure that it analyzes your voice and gives you the results that you need. And then you can also put word exclusions in place. It doesn't always listen, but then we've got a little tool that let me show you on the sales page. Here we are. So let's use the headline generator as an example. We've got some, boost your website's visibility and traffic, unlock the secrets to SEO success in 2 days, say goodbye to SEO frustration and hello to results, master the art of optimizing. So let's say I know that my brand should be, British English. The spelling of this is not ideal. Let me just double check where I'm at here. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to put unleash, skyrocket, dominate, and unlock. And then let me just hit save on there. And then those are saved. So anytime you go in there, you can add more words if you find other words. Let me go back to the sales page. And then when I click on this, we're hopefully, yeah. So we've still got the US spelling going on there. But we have removed that word. So this is why it's still in progress. The sales page is the only one where I've added this feature, but basically the constant upgrades are making sure that when we have put our defined terms in, it's replicating our tone of voice without using some of that language. And so this is beta. You're the first people who've seen it. So the fact that this is like the first tool that it's worked on, me and Rachel's still doing loads of testing with it. But the idea is that ultimately we end up with something that avoids the stereotypes of our industry, avoids that language. And then we can take this and we can say, okay, I'm actually going to refresh these results because I don't love these right now. And you can send them over to your Notion or your G Drive. And then you can, again, we've got dominate, right? But we can remove those and we can send that over to Notion. We've got different examples, and we can kind of hone it down from there. So you might want to create like 10 or 15 headlines, and then choose the ones that you like the best from that, and kind of stitch them together a little bit as well. So with the sales page, you have got all of the sections that you might typically find on a sales page, but you can generate all sections and then go make yourself a little cup of tea while it finishes generating, and or like think about headlines while it's doing that. So if we were to take, a traditional end-to-end core information, all the assets that you need, your sales funnel pieces, and all of the marketing assets, that whole process is going to take less than 20 minutes to create and to draft with Marketing Magic. And the elements that are functional, then for me, I will do that. I edit as I go. So if I go back to the sales page to show you, I will actually be editing the headlines, and deleting the ones that I don't want to use. And let me just say, we're going to take elevate your e-commerce, and we're going to put it here, and we're just going to delete these, and I'm just going to show you, this is how I do my edits, and I'm going to do enroll now, and then I send that to Notion. And so then, while I've been editing that, the next section has populated. So are you tired of your online store feeling like a ghost town? Do you find yourself struggling to attract organic traffic and increase your visibility in search engine results? And this is, giving a problem section. Again, I could say, I'm going to remove that because I don't want that section to be in my problem section, and I'm going to change that there, and then I'm going to send that to Notion as well. So when we are using the tool, you can do edits as you go and send it over, and you can still get it done in like 20 minutes. And then the final editing process is normally where I would say I'm going to set aside 20 minutes to go back through my sales page and make edits. Now that's just for a product where I've had an idea, I know it really well, it's my own. You might want to give it an hour or whatever to come up with some more nuanced ways of saying things. But ultimately the process of actually getting functional stuff into a document and then having that space, for me, I love having that space to go in and tweak it and make it my own. And I could spend 2 or 3 hours doing that and really enjoy it. It's not needed, but I enjoy going in and rewording things like really slightly, but that just in a way that help the flow. And for me, the ability to spend that time there, instead of having to spend 8 hours doing research and just getting functionally the stuff on paper, has been a game changer for how much I enjoy doing my own marketing as well. So that's just to kind of show the sales page, because lots of copywriters do a lot of sales page writing. But the checkout page, all of these things are part of that funnel experience. And so the next thing I want to show you before I go into the chat and answer any questions and just make sure that I've covered things that people have asked about is the blog post titles and outlines. So when you are doing any kind of copywriting for blog posts in particular, yes, you can create blog posts with ChatGPT. Can you create blog posts that align with the customer journey and make sure that the organic traffic that you're getting to a website ties in with the specific products that you're selling in your business? And the answer to that is often no. You can come up with an idea, you can come up with a question, but you ultimately do need sort of strategic insight and an understanding of who your customer is, as well as the product, in order to be able to create genuinely helpful evergreen assets. So the blog titles and outlines give you suggestions for the each stage of the customer journey that ultimately are designed to be bringing people over to the sales page for that product. And so we have got some different titles here, from crickets to customers, how to drive traffic to your e-commerce business. I love that, from crickets to customers. Breaking through the clutter, strategies to stand out in the competitive e-commerce market, why your Shopify store isn't getting the traffic it deserves, and how to fix it. So there's just some, suggestions there for blog titles that are all designed to speak to people who are in that kind of awareness stage of, they know that they've got a problem, but they don't know that that problem could be solved by search engine optimization necessarily. And then we've got, blog post outline there, which is a relatively comprehensive blog post outline. And the same thing goes along all of these. So the idea with Marketing Magic is that you don't have to be prompting AI with the context and the strategy in order to get useful results out of it, because that has been built. It's been built into the tools. It's been built into the user process and experience. And then the workflows feature, I'm going to just touch on this really briefly, because if you're managing multiple client projects, this can be a really nice way to kind of manage your workload with that side of things. And you can create a workflow. So if we add a workflow here, we've got a blog post, so we've got SEO for small businesses there. Let's do SEO. So I'm going to put blog post, and we're going to do from crickets to customers, because that was a really good little title there. I'm going to hit save. And so this allows me to see which elements of this workflow Marketing Magic can help with, and kind of track the progress of that. And it also gives an outline of what needs to be done by a human and what needs human review. And when you are doing any copywriting with AI, making sure that it's factually accurate is like necessary and important. And as a business owner, checking for plagiarism is an important part of whether you're working with a copywriter or you're using AI. I would always just encourage you to make sure that you have put your copy through a plagiarism detector, because it's something that is just so easily done accidentally. And so just making sure that you have double checked that as part of your process is another thing to do. So you always want to understand that you're not outsourcing responsibility to AI. You are still responsible. You are automating some of the predictive stuff that happens during the course of your role, and you're automating that to give you space to spend in the more creative elements that ultimately have a higher impact and give better quality results that are genuinely going to stand apart from what else is out there in the space. And you are ultimately still responsible for what is being put out under your business. Whether you're a copywriter providing stuff for clients, you're responsible if you provide plagiaristic and plagiarized results to your clients. And as a business owner, if you have copy that you're publishing, you are responsible for that. It comes back to you because it's your business. So we're not ever outsourcing responsibility to AI or to tools. We still hold that. And we are able to hold that much more easily when we have saved ourselves a whole lot of time in the process of creating things, because we're not having to be we're not taking the mental and emotional labor of the entire creative workflow from start to finish. And things like the customer journey tool, those are really helpful to get insights, but ultimately those aren't, they're not going to be on the public internet. They're a tool to help you as part of what you're creating as assets to be informative in that way. So the workflows are just there to kind of help make sure that you're able to see things from end to end. Again, because you can have an idea for something, right, like a lead magnet, and then forget to go back to it. And so this just helps with, where did I get up to with that idea? Did I launch that product yet? Have I built that sales funnel yet? Yeah. And if we open this out for the sales funnel one, this again does the same, same process. That'll link you over to the tools where Marketing Magic can help. And then it'll tell you, this is what you need to decide. This is the point in the flowchart where your input is needed, yes or no. And then your journey is informed accordingly. So that's the workflows feature, and how you can kind of, again, use that with projects where you are responsible for an actual deliverable. And the if you haven't got a trial yet, you can head over to sign up for your free 7-day trial, try it out. And if you are somebody who's working with clients, this is a bargain, and it will never be this low priced again. We also will probably not be doing a lifetime license again for our commercial projects. That is something that is very defined to this period of time, just because of the amount of support that we provide. And our commercial clients get a bespoke pack, and Lucy is on board for helping out our commercial clients pretty much 5 days a week. So we do have like dedicated resources for our commercial clients because of the nature of using emerging technologies in business to business projects as well. So hopefully that all makes sense. And I'm going to just go up here. It does that for blogs. Yes, it does do that. Okay, Shelby, sorry, this question isn't related to the session, but wondered if people use Marketing Magic for digital product stores and creation. Yes, they do. So if you go over to Digital Shop Magic, you will find a whole lot of resources. So depending on whether you've got a more traditional funnel set up for your digital products, those are tools that can help there. If you've got a Shopify store, then that is going to be a good format for your Shopify store. Etsy description if you're selling them through Etsy and other marketplaces, and then different tools that can help you with promoting that. And we also have Product Magic, which will give you product ideas and help you take your idea from a little seed all the way through to a skeleton product outline. So you've got all the features, outcomes, you know what the product is all about, and then you can get different product summary, product name ideas, and then the product freestyle is a good one if you're wanting to do that. But yes, you can use Marketing Magic for digital stores 100%. Let me just find where I put my comments. Sorry, I'm 2 tabs here. Okay, let me scroll back up. The chat has been popping while I've been talking to you. Is there a community or ongoing training provided when you sign up for Marketing Magic? Yes, we have a community space, and then we also have live calls where you can come along and ask questions specifically around how to use Marketing Magic. We also have sessions where you can come along and get your account set up with live support if you want to as well, that are designed more for people who've just started. We're here to help. It's a super supportive community, so you will not be left in the dark if you decide to sign up for it. Okay, so hopefully Rachel has been answering everyone's questions in a way that is like on Monday night, Lucy's keyboard was in danger of starting to smoke because she was being so speedy, and tonight it's Rachel's keyboard that is clearly going to be sparking and smoking. Okay, so I will double check. So the commercial license is available as lifetime access until the 28th or 29th of March. I can't remember what date, but it is $300 more than it is right now. So if you want to save $300, then you need to get it before midnight Pacific, which is 8 a.m. UK time. So it's basically 11 and a half hours from now. And that's how much longer the $300 off is relevant for. So hopefully that is okay. All good. I'm just Tori until March the 29th. Thank you, Tori, because I couldn't remember what date it was. What happens after that is that it is a recurring subscription. So you will be so the lifetime license for commercial is genuinely like it's a steal. For 10 clients, it's for like under our subscription pricing, it's $149 a month, which is $1,800 ish a year, and our lifetime pricing is $997 if you are a new user. If you've already bought a lifetime license for Marketing Magic, it's $697 because we've deducted that $300. So you're literally getting it for like half a year. You've made your money back in like half a year. It is nearly 8:30 and I haven't had any protein to eat today, which is becoming very apparent because I don't know if that made sense, but anyway, it's like really you're saving like a lot of money with the lifetime licenses on the commercial side of things. Is this available in the Personal Marketing Magic? Yes, all of these are available if you're a personal user for your own business. The difference is that people who are using it with a commercial license are using AI for their client projects. They have gotten their client's consent to use their client data with AI, and they have decided to use Marketing Magic to help them with their client projects. Jobs to be done isn't for only commercial use. No. All of the tools in Marketing Magic are usable if you are if you've got a license just for your own business. I'm just showing the ones that are most relevant if you are providing services in the space for copywriting specifically. Cool. The customer journey map is also in the normal Marketing Magic. Yes. Excuse the dead air while I keep reading. Tazim, is it 10 plus my own or does it include my own? Yes, it's 10 plus your own. So it's 10 for your clients and then your own. I need to explore more inside this app. That's what this has taught me. To be honest, I do have a really bad habit of just building cool things and then forgetting to tell people. So partly that is on me, and I will get better at communicating when things come out. But I'm just always aware that I don't want to overwhelm people. So typically people will be like, oh, I'm struggling with this. And I'll be like, oh, this tool will help. But otherwise, I don't want people to feel like totally overwhelmed by it. Okay. If I only have one client, I need to use this for one client and not myself. Do I still need to get a commercial license? Yes, because it's to do with the consent for your data to be held. So when you have a commercial license, that is under the agreement that your client has consented for you to put their data into our tool. So it's connected to that. If you only have one client and you're not using it on a regular basis, to be honest, getting a monthly Marketing Magic for commercial license, if you're using it for the $149, get everything done in a month, and then you're not having to pay the ongoing amount. Your client can get a Marketing Magic license, and then if you work for them, you can log in with their account if you want to do it that way. And if you're like a VA or you're only working for one client and using it for that, they can subscribe and then you can use their account with password sharing. We're happy for you to use Teams that way, but we are in the EU and we have to be really, really careful about making sure that any data that is put in, even basic business information, is like that we are holding that with consent, because otherwise we don't want to be getting into trouble there. I just wrote my entire welcome series using Marketing Magic. I love that Tori. So I already have Marketing Magic, but don't know where to start. Where do you suggest? Is there a helpful video series like this? There are some videos that are like designed to help you get stuck into particular things, but do come along to one of the live sessions if you can, and you can like give us in the chat like a bit of context for what you're dealing with right now, and we can kind of talk you through some of the tools that are going to be helpful for that, and you can work along in real time. I would start with what you procrastinate the most or what you find the most frustrating. So like if you don't enjoy writing emails, it is so much fun. For me, sales pages are a thing that I've historically procrastinated a lot over for my own business. And so it's really fun being able to create a sales page in like less than 5 minutes, because I have previously spent like 8 to 40 hours agonizing over them and then procrastinating and doing loads of housework to avoid sitting down and actually finishing my sales pages. So for me, it's really fun to create a sales page with it, because I'm like, oh, I know how long this used to take me and how much time I would procrastinate over it. So starting with something that is a genuine, bug or something that like is a bit of a thorn in your side is a fun way to get stuck into it, because you can kind of see how quickly Marketing Magic can help you overcome that. So I'm just reading through the chat still, and awesome. So people who are blogging as well, this is another really cool tool. So let me go over. I'm going to just take this bit of my sales page for the sake of speed. So we'll do that because it's right here. And then I'll find you another one. So content repurposer. What do I want to do? I want to turn something into a social media post. So I'm going to copy and paste that bit of my sales page in there. I'm going to hit repurpose. And then I'm going to go over to my blog here. And I'm going to go on to top marketing metrics, and I'm going to just copy and paste this blog post as well. So let's copy and paste that. So look, a bit of my sales page here, and then that has reformatted that into a social media caption. So the formatting is there for if I wanted to share that as a caption. Now I've got a blog post, and that's one social post in 1 minute, less than 1 minute. And then now this will be 2 social posts in a minute, basically. So I'm going to repurpose the blog post also into a social media post. And now we have got a little social media post there as well out of a blog post. So the repurposing tool, if blogging is your main form of marketing, it's a really handy one to be able to just repurpose and not have to start from scratch if you're already creating content. So I'm still going through the chat, and love to see everyone chatting. Does this tool do AI image creation? No, it does not. And that is on purpose because the amount of real artists' work that is being ripped off by visual AI at the moment is really a huge issue. It has not been trained on as many data parameters, and the fact that you can replicate artists' work by using their names as prompts is a much more problematic approach. For me personally, I work a lot with artists. I have a real problem with that. Ultimately, with language, as much as you can be a wordsmith, right? You're coming out with like these different quotes and things. There are also only so many ways to say things. And so if you've trained something on 1.5 billion parameters and it is picking up like trends in words following each other, plagiarism is often, unless it's like word for word, plagiarism, which has happened to me before multiple times, where people have taken paragraphs of thoughts that I have communicated and ways that I've expressly said things, where I can say like that, you have plagiarized that, because that is exactly the analogy that I used. It is pulling together from experiences that are specific to me. And I can like tell you why my human experience means that nobody else would have said that in those exact terms. And also that particular situation is because of a conversation that I had with somebody here. Like I have been able to map out exactly and say, this is why this is plagiarized. Now, that is to do with how we're communicating very specific things, right? That layer over our experiences. So we can identify that. And if AI did that, I would be like, that's suspicious, because not enough people have had that experience for AI to be like, this is how you should communicate that thing. With visual AI, it has not been, there are not as many predictive ways of creating visual art as there are with language. And I'm really sorry, this is like a bit of a technical thing. I'm trying not to be overly technical in the way that I describe it, but I'm also tired enough that the only way that I can think to describe it is technical. So just bear with me. Some of the ways that if I take SEO, explaining SEO, right? If I explain SEO as a library, that is something that I will do because it's my teaching style. But if somebody else did that, I also wouldn't be surprised, because a library is the most logical thing to compare SEO too, because ultimately SEO is like a digital library system for the pages of the internet. So if AI said SEO is like a library, I would not feel like it had copied me, because I'd be like, no, it's just connecting it to something in the real world, and that actually makes logical sense. A lot of the issues with generative AI, text-based generative AI, at the moment are because of the unlawful use of content. So the New York Times lawsuit against OpenAI is because of the way that the New York Times backlog has been accessed, even though it's in the public domain. They didn't like it, so they've taken them to court. There are authors who are suing OpenAI because of plagiarism, but ultimately, some of that is just that AI has made logical connections with analogies to the real world. So sometimes it's word for word stuff. Sometimes it is because ultimately what has been communicated has just been like relatively obvious. And so it's not as likely to plagiarize exact things because it's pulling connections based on patterns of data. Generative visual AI is pulling directly from stylistic influence of actual artists. And that is why I have a problem with it. And that was a really long-winded explanation. So I apologize for that if it was not interesting. I am just, thought quite a bit about it, and I wouldn't use, like Marketing Magic will not have visual generative stuff in it. We may look at integrating with tools where we can send the copy over to create a graphic, for instance, but we're not going to, and that's only a maybe. I'm just giving you an example of the kind of visual that would potentially not be problematic. But in terms of actually creating brand new stuff, I just have too many like artist friends that I like the originality of artistic work is something that I really appreciate and value. And until generative AI for visual stuff can prove that it was trained with ethical use of people's creative output, it's not something that I want to encourage personally. Can a VA help me by accessing this tool? Yes. What's the word on the audio transcript update? So the depends which one you're asking about, but the transcripts here are you can basically repurpose your audio using all of these tools. So you can repurpose it into all kinds of things, but it depends, because if there's something that you have used this for and you've reported a bug, some stuff has been updated and some stuff hasn't. So if you have a specific thing that you are wanting to like follow up about, the best thing to do is probably either ask in the community or pop an email over and we'll be able to get that over to you. Do you have a payment plan for today's deal? If you would like a payment plan, please email us and we will make sure that you get access to that before the if we haven't got back to you by the time it's midnight Pacific, we'll honor the fact that you asked before midnight Pacific. But Lucy will send you the details for that. Okay, so get the commercial license before she realizes she's giving it away. I realize I'm just not that bothered. I'd rather it was helpful for people. Like for me, I'm like, the joy in this is like having other people also nerd out about how much time they're saving. So I am more than happy that we're giving it away, and it's yeah. No lasagna, not tonight. I just forget to eat until it's like 8:30 and I've lost the ability to communicate effectively on a live call, apparently. That's a reference to Monday, because Monday, we went way over time again. I've gone over time today, but like obviously I'm answering questions. So anyone who's not interested can exit the virtual room if they want to. But on Monday, I also have not eaten, and I've just been doing a lot of like relatively intensive development stuff, which means that I am just slightly less able to communicate succinctly because I just am too nerdy about all the good stuff. What if our client has already purchased or gotten overwhelmed? If they've already purchased Marketing Magic, you can go in and set it up for them. Absolutely. It's just that that there needs to be a like consent in place, so they, you can go in and set up their account for them and everything. But your client needs to either have their own account that you use, or you need to have a commercial license in order to use it for them. Can I swap out clients when I'm done working with them inside that count of 10? So yes, 10 concurrent clients is what we have gotten to, and I miscommunicated that on Monday, so I apologize for that. Yeah, it makes copywriting fun for new business owner. Exactly. Is there a character limit for the content repurposing one? There is, as in like you can upload like 5,000 to 8,000 words of content to repurpose it. That's the limit, but 8,000 words is a lot. So it's like 4 really long blog posts. Tori, yes, concurrent. There we go. Will these tools work as well for world languages, French or Spanish? Yes, we do have multilingual users. It supports all of the languages that OpenAI supports. I had a conversation with someone today about the fact that transcript magic is really wacky in Spanish. So that is something that I'll be fixing. But it does support multilingual use, and any issues that happen where it's coming out in English instead, we will go back and make sure that that's resolved. One of the features that we're working on at the minute is to make sure that everything gets properly translated. Okay, so I'm just at the bottom of the chat. Awesome. How can it help with our YouTube videos? Rachel is doing a sterling job of answering. Thank you so much, Rachel. I really appreciate how great you've been in the comments this evening. It has made my life so much easier. I've just gone on to how many different random tangents about the use of generative AI. How long can a video be for transcription? Currently 2.5 hours, so pretty chunky in terms of length. You just need to upload the audio MP3 or MP4 of the video, and that will work really well for that. Awesome. I've reached the end of the chat. We're a good hour and a half in here. So I'm always really aware that if I looked myself at the length of time that this video was, I would be like, hard no, I do not have time to watch that. But obviously the substantive part of the copywriting conversation was happening in the first 45 minutes to an hour, and then it's just been vibing with the chat since. So if you are just watching the end and you haven't seen the start yet, don't worry. You can watch the AI for copywriting section at the beginning, and it's not, you don't need to watch the whole thing. So the replay link and the resource document will both be over on the replay page after this. And if you have any questions, then obviously we're here to help. We do live in the UK, and our team is based in the UK. Ali is in the US, but Ali is over in our community, not the inbox. So Lucy and I are around, and we will answer all of your questions that come in. But if we miss the deadline, we will still honor the time at which you ask the question. So if you ask us a question before midnight Pacific and we don't get back to you right away, it's because we're sleeping, because midnight Pacific is 8 a.m. UK time. So if you ask us any questions in the last few hours, we will be asleep, all being well. Insomnia dependent. But we will get back to you and make sure that you have the information that you need. So please do not worry if you don't hear from us in the last few hours before the price goes up, because it's just due to the time zones. And if you want to find out any more about it, then the commercial tab on your Marketing Magic account is the place to look. So I will love you all and leave you. Tomorrow we have another session, and I cannot remember off the top of my head what that session is. So just bear with me a second while I tell you what it is. There's going to be a bit of dead air while I pull up the page, because I can't remember what the link was for the page. I'm going to have to go into my Squarespace account and double check it that way. Oh, I can go into, no, I can't go into StreamYard. I'm in StreamYard already. Tomorrow is, where are we? Today's copywriting, and tomorrow is the AI-powered virtual assistant, and we will be at 3 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Eastern, and 8 a.m. Pacific. So it's a morning one if you're in the North America. If you're in the UK or Europe, we are in the afternoon. So that is 3 p.m. UK time tomorrow morning, and the details are on the replay page. But we're going to be looking at the AI-powered virtual assistant. So that is also going to be a super fun one. And I think Lucy might be around tomorrow in the chat for that, who has got a whole training program where she's trained VAs for many years. So that will be a really cool conversation. So do join us if that's relevant to you. And otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening. Erica, yes, VAs and agencies. You were right. I should have checked the chat before I got distracted by my website. So thank you for joining. Thanks for all your energy in the chat. It's always amazing to be able to come on and hang out with you. And it feels like we're having a big, friendly hangout and conversation. So it's been really nice to see everyone interacting. And thank you again to Rachel for how brilliantly she's answered everyone's questions. And I will see you all soon. The training is in the community or here on YouTube. So the training, the copywriting training from today will be on YouTube. Anything else related to Marketing Magic, there's a whole lot of stuff over in the community, so you can go and check that out. I don't do a whole lot of public trainings for Marketing Magic because of the fact that it's not totally relevant unless you're a user. This is just part of the sort of, demonstration process for AI powered service provision. But if there's anything specific that you're looking for, do ask. And then Ali, Rachel, Lucy, or myself will point you in the right direction to resources to help with whatever you're working on at the moment. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, wherever you are and whatever you're up to. And I will see you tomorrow for the AI-powered virtual assistant and agency. And we will dive into all the fun stuff for workflows, processes, and what it looks like to be a virtual assistant using AI in 2024 and beyond.